hiking.
Well, okay, you and I have gone hiking before. What's your favorite? A hard path or a natural path?
I prefer a natural path, like some good dirt on the shoes, little windy switchbacks here and there. Um, yeah, I
I
don't mind. I don't mind a hard path though. Like especially like if I've got the kids tagging along, sometimes that's easier. But
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, oh, you know what? I feel like if you like a hard path, is that like a wussy way out of things, or you know what I mean? Like, oh, you okay, grandma? Walk, whatever. But then I thought about it. I It's almost like, okay, I love the natural paths, but then there's snakes in this area, right? And so I can't help but think like, okay, you're really at one with nature,
Mhm.
on the natural paths. And then if it's I keep on saying carved, paved path, they still can cross, but I just feel like snakes naturally will see like concrete and be like, oh, peace out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and the nice thing about a paid path too is if it depends on your mindset, right? If you're like really trying to get from A to B and like you're going for efficiency and speed, like
Uh,
trying to get the most into your time outside, then sometimes that could be beneficial to have a very direct something's already paved, laid out for you, you know exactly where you're going.
It's really interesting that you mentioned that then because like in podcasting, not everything is paved in stone for you. Sometimes you're crossing that natural path, sometimes you're on a paved path, just depending on the type of show you're doing or type of episode. And I can't help but feel like the mic is always listening to our conversations. Dawn, did you like that
See
tie-in?
it? I did.
Okay, are you ready for the show?
We're ready.
Okay, let's kick this off.
The mic is listening.
The mic is listening.
The mic is listening.
The mic is
The
listening.
mic is
The
listening.
mic
The mic
is
is
The
listening.
mic is listening.
The mic is listening.
The mic is listening.
The mic is listening.
The mic
The mic is listening.
The mic is listening.
The mic is listening.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to the Mike is Listening show. I am always excited to have these episodes go live because, well, why not? What an exhilaration of like just, oh, what's that word? Rush of energy. Oh my gosh, I can't even think of the word. Oh, it must be Thanksgiving on the brain here. So if no one's listening, that's great. But if someone is listening, hopefully you're traveling to see your family and friends, and I hope you arrive safely and sound and are still happy after the trip. So let's talk about today's episode. I know I'm corny, but I do think that the idea of tying in your personal life with your professional life sometimes can be extraordinarily beneficial. So, case in point, today's episode is called Hi, Miss American Pie. I get it. It's Miss Marketing Pie. And I'm going to be featuring a really good friend of mine, Don McKenzie, which I will introduce you to her a little bit more properly in a second. But before we even do that, what I want to talk about real quick is because it's Thanksgiving, let's talk about being thankful. And I'm not talking about in the context of being thankful for, just standard, friendship, etc. What I'm really talking about is being thankful professionally speaking. And we see this a lot in social media. And I think a lot of it has to do with etiquette that sometimes for those that are newer to playing the quote social media game, you may not be aware of some things. And if you are aware of it and not doing it, maybe perhaps you could be a little bit more thankful. And what I'm saying is talking about reciprocation. And when we're saying reciprocation, like all business relationships and personal relationships too, is if someone does something nice for you, you want to do something nice in return. And I feel like in social media, we sometimes get a little lazy about it. And I'm not saying you're intentionally being lazy because I'm guilty of it as much as anything else, but it is, if someone's taking the time to comment on your posts, or if they're taking the time to do the like or the hand clap or heart emoji or whatever, and they're doing it consistently. I know you're busy yourself, but sometimes just, if they're posting as well, reciprocate and do it in kind because you know what? Your network might be stronger. You might have a bigger, better social media presence. You might have a better following, etc. But we all come from somewhere. And if you can help pay it forward where someone else has or is trying to develop their following as well or build their community, you throwing them a bone is so helpful. And all it takes is a little like 1.01 second of saying haha or heart or insightful or thoughtful. If you're on other social media platforms, what other emojis are out there? So that's what I'm talking about, being thankful in the social media business professional world. Making a comment is so huge. If you want to know why I'm saying all this is, it's because of those algorithms. We're talking about marketing today, and social media and having a digital media marketing strategy is so critical as we move forward from 2021 to 2022. If you don't have one yet, listen to what we have to say, because I think there's some importance to maybe some value that may want you to think about, that might help you think about over the holidays. So that is my quote rant for the day. And I hope it's helpful for you. And I hope that it is something that you want to indulge and look at. So on that note, I would like to welcome my very good friend, Don McKenzie with BPS Technology. Good
Hello.
morning, Don.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning to you. So there's nothing more fun than having a network of friends that are just amazing. And Donna, I just want you to know that we met a few years ago.
Did.
Just
Yeah, we met at an event, and it was during Dallas Startup Week, and it was 4 years ago at this point, maybe.
is it maybe 4 years ago? Where does time flies? You know what? No, I think it was 4 years ago, but we didn't really connect until like 6, 7 months after that.
Right, yeah. And so I had been there assisting a couple of speakers that we had placed, and you graciously came up afterwards and said, "Hi, I'm Sia, and I would like to be your friend." And I said, "Okay."
That's exactly what you did. You're like, okay. And I just remember your face going crazy. And I'm like, yes, I'm crazy.
No, and then we reconnected it for Digital Fight Club, and have been kind of running around the innovation ecosystem of DFW ever since. And then luckily it's blossomed into a friendship IRL, if you will.
Ooh. Well, there's a reason behind all things. And so you are just as sweet as apple pie, my friend. And it's going to be horrible. Okay. So full disclosure, everyone, Don's going to come over to my house and we're making pies this afternoon. Okay. So, but I thought it was a really perfect tie-in in my own corny sense, because Miss American Pie popped into my head. But there's some truth to baking a pie and creating a marketing strategy. So Don, you said something earlier that just killed me. Do you want to state it for me, or do you want me to state it?
Either
I'll
way,
do it for you,
sister.
because
Yeah.
you had your stroke of genius, and it's this: your marketing plan is only as good as your business plan.
Mhm.
And I was like, genius, let's talk about this.
Yeah, so and I can't take credit for coining that, but I worked with a really strong leader for a number of years when I was in the consulting firm world. And every time that we served a lot of different internal clients, and anytime that we got together, she would remind us, our marketing plan is only as strong as the business plan. And it's a great way for us to go back and really understand, what are we trying to accomplish here? I can put campaigns together all day long, but is it really going to get to where you need to go for the business? And it's really become a mantra for me over the years, because especially in the role that I'm in now at BPS Technology, we're incubating a lot of little baby startups that are using our technology, and working with those presidents and leaders of each entity to ask them, okay, show me your business plan. What's going on? Where do we need to get this year? What are your goals for the next quarter? What are your goals for the next 12 months? And then we can really decide which levers we're going to pull really hard, right? Are we going to lean in on social media really hard this quarter to gain followers? Are we going to lean in more on media relations because we need to get more broad brand awareness out in the market? Or are we going to focus on content development and white papers because there's some really influential conferences coming up that we want to present at? And so it tells us, what audience is most important. And usually the business plan is a key element of that is the buyer journey, seeing, where our buyers are. And so figuring out, okay, do we need to build, broad-based just awareness for this company? Do we need to enhance their knowledge about our products? Do we need to move them into that consideration zone? So all of those factors help play into how we strategize to go to market.
So you just, I mean, that was such a mouthful. And I want to dissect this all down because it makes absolute sense. So if I were to do this pie baking analogy, it feels like to me then, if you're saying your marketing plan is only as good as your business plan, it's like saying, hey, if I'm going to be, baking a pie, I'm going to need a recipe. I need a foundational guide. Everyone could just make a pie like we did as kids, right? We made mud pies and we just kind of slap things together, right? But is that the result? Is the end result what you really want? So having a recipe, i.e. business plan, to tie it all together. Now, would you say then and argue that the individual ingredients that make up a pie, let's say apple pie, you've got apples, you've got lemons, you've got a dough, and within the dough, there's sub ingredients with that. Is that what you're saying is like those marketing initiatives, whether it be social media or it might be a event or white paper content development, are those the ingredients that you're saying is going to make that pie?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got number one, when you're baking, the one of the things that I've always indulged in a little bit is having really high quality ingredients. So for example, I'll get my vanilla extract from a lovely place called Penzie's Spices because it's the double Mexican vanilla and it's really good. And it's the same way that I would look at a piece of my marketing strategy where I'm not going to throw good money after bad work. I'm not going to slap together something at the last minute just to check the box. I'm going to look for something that I feel really proud of and something that I feel like will actually be a quality ingredient to the marketing strategy. I mean, one of the great things about recipes, though, that we have to remember is that, we can have a marketing playbook, which is essentially like our recipe, but we also have the agility and the creativity to stray from that sometimes. So we're able to say, you know what? This doesn't call for cloves, but I like a little bit of cloves dashed in. Or I know that my audience likes cloves dashed in, even though this doesn't call for it. So approaching those with a mindset that it's okay to stray to meet everybody's tastes a little bit better.
OMG. I love that because we do have to pivot at points, right? We do have to adjust for the market. You made another comment earlier about your audience because I say this all the time in podcasting, right? Who are you talking to? Who's your audience? But you took it a step further. Not only do you have to recognize and know who your audience is, you got to know what stage they're in because your audience at one point, they too have a cycle of their own pie making, if you will. So maybe they're in acquisition mode, or maybe they're in research mode. You just totally gave me a light bulb on that, Dawn.
It's about the audience, maturity through that buying cycle. So some of it is not necessarily, I'm ready to buy right now. Especially this time of year, we find that the end of Q4 is when a lot of folks are doing some pretty intense research on what am I looking at for next year. We're doing an email marketing campaign right now for one of our companies, and it's getting great open rates. But what we're finding is that a lot of folks who are replying to us, they're really in that information gathering stage, right? I'm putting together my plan for next year. I'd like to see some, dollars and cents and quotes. I don't have an RFQ right now, but I will in 3 months from now when I have my full plan for 2022. So it's up to us to kind of be that top of mind. And I heard a great quote the other day. Again, I can't take credit for this, but somebody was talking about email marketing campaigns, and they were like, "Well, gosh, there's this, that we've got this open rate, but people just keep deleting it." And it's like, yeah, but every time they delete it, they have to think about me. So.
And it's almost like, I don't want to, it's really extrapolating, but it's like all press is good press. Sometimes you're just planting that seed. It's like that little tap on the window, or like that annoying tap that your siblings, would be like, "Don't touch me. I'm not touching you." It's a little email. And it's funny because I'm anti-email right now.
I know.
And I don't like it. I don't like it. It's full of spam, as we say, but I do look at it. Like I do notice people that are sending me notes. Sometimes I get annoyed of like, oh, C is emailing me again kind of thing. But at the same time, maybe I'm not ready to receive that particular message, but there's that one time.
And we're coming up on a great time of year where you're going to have some PTO, some downtime, some relaxing, some resetting, some thinking about what you want to get done next year. And typically over the extended holiday in December, I'll take 3-4 hours to go through my email and unsubscribe. And really think about, did this bring anything to me this year? No, not really. I still am not signing up for that gym membership. Still not going to renew that vitamin subscription. So I'll sit there and just go through and kind of, clean some of that out, right? And kind of hit that reset button going into the new year.
But as a marketer, then knowing that even we are doing that, even we have the behavior of like, nah, delete. Or what I do is I write a rule and it goes right into a folder. Right.
But that doesn't mean that I'm unsubscribing from them on social media.
Good point.
Right. So I could still follow along passively and, for certain brands on Instagram or Twitter, but I just maybe don't want it in my email inbox where I'm trying to kind of keep stuff more organized. So it just depends.
So let's talk about social media for a sec here because I'm intrigued. BPS Technologies, you guys invest into a lot of great like startups, like under your parent umbrella. And not all of these businesses are what I would affectionately call TikTok friendly or TikTokable, but they could be TikTokable. Like that's like, talk to me. What are your thoughts on social media? Because I'm going to pick on, let's pick on, Verano's products. Okay. I mean, it's basically a formula to enhance growth, agriculture, especially in big business. Right. And it's done,
so they're
to yield the most product.
Yeah. They're horticulture products. Yeah.
How do you TikTok or would you TikTok? Or is it something that like, if the inspiration is there, would you do?
Yeah, you know what? Verano is probably one of the brands we would TikTok. But right now we're so Verano 365 is a company that specializes in horticulture inputs. And what do I mean by inputs? I mean the things that go into plant nutrient systems, making sure that those plants grow healthy, robust, build good root systems, are beautiful, and we enhance fertilizer use. And right now, in particular, we're focused on a couple of different products. One of them is called EvoFactor, and it's for reducing the amount of fertilizer that's required to be used. So if you supplement your fertilizer with our EvoFactor product, you can reduce your rate by about 50%. And then one of them is called Thrivato, and it's in the medicinal cannabis space where medicinal cannabis growers, commercial size growers, can use the product to increase yield, bud yield, and THC in some cases, depending on the strain. That particular audience is wild about Instagram, right? So they're all over Instagram. We find a ton of really good engagement there because it's a very visual product, right? I mean, I grew these beautiful flowers. I grew this, amazing looking tomato. Things that are grown in our grow chamber look amazing. They're fun to photograph. I mean, who knew a lettuce trowel could be so pretty? But it is. It's these gorgeous colors and.
I also feel like the Gen Z too, though, like are really into that health, earthy, grow, sustainable, like eat more vegetables vibe. I feel like, did you know inherently like, oh, hey, this is popular on Insta because it's picture worthy? Or is it because you yourself, I know, are a picture taken fool? Like you take amazing pictures. And did you say, hey, I enjoy taking these pictures, so therefore there is something? Like, how did you How did it come up, that light
It
bulb?
goes back to the buyer, because what I did was basically we looked at, so Verano's only been around for a couple of years, right? And so when I came on, I looked at, I asked our president of the company at the time. I said, okay, who would buy these products? And they gave me a list of companies, the top 100 greenhouse growers and nurseries in the country. And then I went and looked and said, okay, well, where are they? And by and large, they are on Instagram, and about probably 70% of them are on Twitter. Very small percentage of them are on LinkedIn as companies. Now, their head growers and their business people, they are on LinkedIn. And so we've that helps us determine our mix, right? So we see that all of these folks are on Instagram sharing beautiful pictures of the poinsettias growing in their greenhouse, beautiful photos of the mums that they've produced that, we all put on our front steps over Thanksgiving right now. And so that tells us, we need to be there too. And just to your point earlier, even if I'm not there posting a lot of content, I'm there engaging with them. I like this. This is beautiful. Like your team has done such a great job this year on, supplying the country with, fresh produce. And so we find that it's a great place for engagement. And the same with, LinkedIn. We get a little bit more businessy on LinkedIn, and then we get a little bit more, soft. I would say softer on Instagram.
I'd almost, I think I agree as far as when you say soft, I think it's more of like that less intentional viewing.
Yeah, it's
LinkedIn is all about, okay, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm in business mode, and I'm an executive at this organization and blah, blah, blah. I feel like we're still all humans, and we're humans on Insta. I feel like we're in business mode, professional mode on LinkedIn, and we're, casual family mode on Instagram. That's kind of how I view it. Is that how we should be looking at it?
I think that for me personally on my social media channels, I kind of have some designation like that, right? Like, for example, we talked about TikTokable, but none of my brands are on Facebook, right? Because we're not a B2C company. And there's an argument to be made that maybe we should be, but as a B2B company, we've kind of determined our bread and butter is going to be on LinkedIn, our, to a certain extent on Twitter, and then Instagram for more of our, soft side content. But even, for me, like I don't put a lot of my business professional updates on Facebook. Because really it's just where my mom wants to see pictures of her grandkids out, hiking and doing fun things and baking. I'll probably put some baking pictures later today on there.
I better clean my house then. Okay, go ahead.
But and then on Instagram, Instagram for me is usually a blend because of marketing as a field. Marketing is a very visual kind of business, right? And a lot of times we do, I beg, borrow, and steal ideas off of Instagram all day long that people are doing because it's really fun.
What I've never really got into is, but I see it every now and then is like Pinterest. And I people keep talking to me like, oh, are you on Pinterest? I'm like, why the hell would I be on Pinterest? Like, I just never got into that platform. However, what you just said, now maybe it's just another platform I should check out, is inspiration.
So I find Pinterest really helpful for a couple of things. One is inspiration, because you will find tons of recipes there. But also, one of the things that I've always gone to Pinterest for is infographic inspiration. And so a lot of people have some really terrific just design boards that they'll pin things to. And over the years, it's been one of those things that I kind of gravitate back to when I'm feeling stuck and I'm like, okay, I've got this data. How do I want to put it out there? How are other people putting it out there? What's the best practice right now? And looking to see. And so Pinterest definitely serves a great purpose when it comes to visual content. And I mean, content creation is going to continue to be, a huge trend into 2022. So it's not going away. Content is king.
Okay, you have your challenges. BPS is a great company and you work with some amazing leaders. But if what you can disclose without naming names, when you first came on, how hard was it for you to say, hey guys, I know you're a little bit more industrial minded, maybe more mechanically inclined. How hard was it for you to convince them that having a marketing overarching strategy that does include content creation, that includes, digital platforms like, social media platforms, did you have a hard time winning them over?
So the long and short of it is I really didn't. They were very gracious. And if I brought an idea forward, they were really all in. They just said they were a little, they really just said, show me, right? Like nothing's off limits, but just show me what this could look like. And it's kind of a little bit, like I would say, how sometimes we don't want to, just open up a recipe book and try something blindly. We want to taste the pie and then we'll ask our friend for the recipe because the proof is in the pudding. Or in the pie.
Pudding in the pie. Oh, wait, proof is in the pie.
Proof is in the pie. So once you've tried it and you decide that you like it, then you want to go make more of it. Right. And so that's really kind of what I did from the outset was really presented everything as, consider this a pilot, right? I'm not asking you to get married. We're going on a date. Like, let's just try this. If we don't like it, we can shelve it. We can try something different. And sometimes it was coming to them and saying, look, here's an example of where I've seen this work before, or here's an example of where I think that this could work for us if we adapt it in this way and kind of put our own, fingerprints on it. And so really, learning and reading them that way, my executive leadership team, coming to them with ideas, that was why they brought me in, was to be, an idea generator, which, as you know, I can sit and do all day long. So that was no problem for me.
I'm not going to lie to you. Every time we hang out, I learn something new because you're such a wealth of knowledge and you have such creative ideas on things. And there's like little things about you that like, you're so funny. You remind me of like, I've mentioned it before, but life is like a box of chocolates and you're just give me one little chocolate piece at a time. So the more I'm getting to know you, I'm like, wait, what? You can sing? Hey, everyone, Don can sing. Don can sing. If you ever want to have like a karaoke night, Dawn can sing.
I'm on it.
And poor Dawn has to listen to us people that can't sing. She's a gracious individual.
No, it's so fun.
But okay, so if you had any advice as we're looking at going into 2022, right? What is one thing that you think, okay, any marketer should have in their playbook as part of their recipe book to fulfill business plans? What's the one thing we should just start off with?
Look, this is going to be music to your ears, and I swear I'm not pandering, but it is about content creation, right? And there's and there's all different kinds of content, and so you have to figure out what works for you. But I will share. I brought props. I will share 2 tremendous resources that truly sit on my desk, and I use them, if not once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week. It just depends. And these have been my go-to holiday gifts for marketers, in case anybody has a marketer on your list that you need to buy for. But there's this great book, Better Data Visualizations, and it's by Jonathan Schwabish. And he goes through, and he's fabulous on Twitter, by the way. Give him a follow there. But this is like the Bible of all different ways to visualize data. And so for anybody out there who's going to be struggling with an infographic or data to crunch, my companies are big into research. The other one is my well-worn copy of Weekend Language, Andy Craig. It's telling more stories and using less PowerPoint. I wonder how you would do that, Sia.
How would one do that, guys? Podcasting. podcasting.
Yeah.
And
So
hey, pander away, girl. I don't care.
yeah, no, weekend language though is really just about how to get out of your own head, right? I mean, the way that we tell stories around a backyard barbecue with our friends while we're baking or karaoke nighting or whatever is very different than how I might present to the board. But why? Why is that? Right. And so maybe I should be doing my presentations more like I'm talking with my buddies because it engenders authenticity. It shows, it builds a connection, and it makes people like you more when you don't have 52 slides to go through.
Well, I mean, I think that's that one elusive bridge is like if you can make an emotional connection to a thought or a concept, it's going to be that much more memorable
Mm-hmm.
and make you more likable.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
So, oh my gosh, John, I could talk to you forever. For those that want to get a hold of you, how could they get to know Ms. Dawn McKenzie?
So you can find me on LinkedIn, obviously, Dawn McKenzie. And then you can also find me over on Twitter. I have like an OG Twitter handle I've never let go of, and it's at Sugar and Stitch. An ode to my hobbies and my loves. So at Sugar and Stitch over on Twitter. You can always find me over there.
Beautiful. And so everyone, please hit up. And I'm going to actually add those books to the notes. And we'll add that because I too should definitely be reading that because you do these little drawings and stuff like that. And I always admire how you put your images together. Now it makes sense. I just thought you were a genius, Dawn. Oh,
my secrets are out. We can also put some recipes up in the show notes today, Sia.
Ooh, see you, marketing genius, you. And you know what we should do? We should do a follow-up and show up our pictures of our results.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. So, Dawn, it's such a pleasure having you, and I really appreciate you. I do have one thing here. Again, if anyone wants to get to know Dawn, please, by all means, reach out to her. One last thought for the mic is listening. For those that are in the Dallas area and you're interested in learning more about Global Leaders Organization, we are celebrating 2021 on December 9th at 6 p.m. If you are interested and you would like an invite, you need to reach out to me. There's only one SYYA in the freaking universe. Just Google SYYA outside of I think it's, now that I think about it, I think there's a yo-yo association in Sweden, but outside of that, there's only one SYYA SIA that is anything to do with business. So hit me up. I'll be happy to talk to you about Glow, but also talk to you about if you're interested in meeting some fellow entrepreneurs. On that note, have everyone happy Thanksgiving. Be safe. Enjoy your family. And if not, read some books that will take you away from the family. And I guess we shall see you next week on another episode.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Bye, guys.